Hey everyone, right now I have some baby Ranchus growing up in my 40-gallon Anubias tank, so I need to set up a new tank for their future home, and I wanted to try something completely different from anything I've done before. So let's get started. So the plan is to grow some Hygrophila corymbosa on the far left of the tank and possibly let them grow out of the water. To do this, I'm going to use a layer of dirt, sand, and Eco-Complete. Now, I've never actually used sand or Eco-Complete before, so I'm not exactly sure how well this will work. On the rest of the tank, I just want a single layer of sand to kind of look like a long beach, maybe half as high as the island section. And this is my crazy plan to try to achieve this two-section goal. I'm going to go full beaver mode and make a dam out of some driftwood pieces and rocks. The driftwood locked together remarkably well, but we'll see how well it holds up over time. I got some organic potting soil from Home Depot, and since I'm a married man, I did the pouring and sifting outside. One of the ingredients is actually worm castings, which is kind of cool since we keep red wigglers in a compost pile that make the same thing for our organic garden. The goal is to have about 1 inch of soil after it gets compacted down. When I first set up my 125-gallon dirt planted tank 10 years ago, I didn't account for settling and ended up with less than I had planned. So I let this dirt get nice and muddy and press my hands through it in case there are any kind of ammonia cooties hiding down in there somewhere. Now I absolutely love the way this looks right now. Isn't that beautiful? I'm going to let this sit for a day before adding the sand, and I'll be using the standard Carib Sea Supernaturals, which I think has a very nice color. Oh, by the way, this tank spent a lot of time only half filled with water, and if you do that in Indianapolis, you need to periodically scrape off the hard water deposits. So I guess that counts as some added mineral supplements to my potting soil. Now, the next step was to wash the sand. The baby bunny who lives under our deck seemed very interested in how exactly I was going to do this. I just poured the sand into a bucket, swirled it in water, and dumped out anything that didn't settle quickly. I did this 3 or 4 times for each set of 2-pound bags. Hopefully that was enough. For some reason, this step reminded me of being on a beach. Okay, so it's been 24 hours. I got my sand here ready to go. One's got a little drier sand. I'll probably use this half cup to put it in, and a little wetter sand we'll do after. So I want to do this very carefully to keep all the mud down the bottom. I'm going to do sand along the side here. So it's on either side of our little beaver dam. So let me set up here and we'll get started. I wanted to make sure that there was a sand layer on the inside of the driftwood. So if anything did leach through over time, it hopefully won't be the dirt, or at least not too much. The reason I'm doing a full 2-inch cap of sand over the dirt is because goldfish like to dig and spit up things looking for those yummy little morsels of food. Plus, those 2 inches will hopefully be deep enough for the plant's roots to get a firm hold. And if you've ever tried to keep larger goldfish with planted tanks, you know that goldfish will eventually pull up all the plants if they can. After 1 inch, I decided to seed the sand with a 1/3 cup of potting soil. This will hopefully give the plants enough nutrition to grow and expand the roots down to the beginning of the dirt layer. Now, this is the first time I've added sand to an aquarium, and I have to admit it was pretty fun. One thing I did learn was that using a cup to move the sand didn't work that well since the sand got compacted down inside. A wooden spatula seemed to work much better. It's kind of like working with mashed potatoes. I added some bigger rocks to the beaver dam to plug up any larger gaps. Afterwards, I did wonder if maybe I should have used some super glue to keep them in place. We'll see. I got 5 of the 10-pound bags of sand and probably used 3 for the planted side and 2 for the beach area. So far, I think things look pretty good. We have a little more than 1 inch of dirt covered by 2 inches of sand that's been seeded with a little bit of dirt. I'm pretty confident that my goldfish won't be able to dig down that far. Probably. The Eco-Complete comes packed with a liquid that is supposed to help start your tank's biological cycle and says no rinsing is required. I did pour out the liquid, but I decided to follow the recommended instructions and didn't rinse it. Eco-Complete is basically just crushed lava rock and will absorb and release nutrients over time. It's apparently not the most secure medium to keep plants firmly rooted in, or at least not for plants that will be living with larger goldfish. So this layer will basically just act as a way to protect the sand from too much digging and give the planted side of the tank a different look. And if some of this gets transported over to the beach side of the tank, it shouldn't be a problem. Now, as I was setting all this up, I was trying to imagine how this will look a year from now. Would the beaver dam actually keep the two sections separate, or would it all just get mixed up over time? And if it does get mixed up over time, I guess as long as the plants stay rooted, we'll call it a success. One advantage of not having dirt under the entire tank is that I won't have to worry so much about having an errant water change incident mixing up all the sand and dirt. I used to just hang the water hose over the side of the tank, but obviously that can't happen anymore. So here's what it looks like with the water in. Oh, I just got a motion alert. I think my plants have actually arrived right when I'm trying to do this. Let me go check. Okay, so the plants have arrived from Dustin's fish tanks. I ordered some Hygrophila corymbosa, which I will call Hygros. This YouTuber really inspired me to try a dirt planted tank for the first time. He added an extra plant and a nice little chart to try to figure out what it is, I guess. I'm not sure, so I guess I'll just call it Dustin's plant for now. Now, my wife and I have had an organic garden for the last 10 years, and I have a lot of experience planting things, but it's been a while since I planted something in an aquarium, so I apologize if my technique looks a little like an unsure newbie. If you think you can do a better job planting these than I can, well, yeah, you probably can. Now, the reason I chose this particular plant is that some people have had success keeping them with goldfish. I had tried a huge variety of plants in my main tank, but they all eventually got pulled up by the goldfish after a year or so, except for the Amazon swords. But you can't really have Amazon swords long-term in a 40-gallon tank. So we'll give these Hygros a try. I decided to plant the mysterious Dustin's plant, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to survive larger goldfish, so it's just temporary. I planted about half the plants and floated the rest in the Anubias tank. Next, I added some frogbit, guppy grass, and duckweed from my other tanks. I had used the Fluval Aqua Skies on this tank before, but they strangely didn't seem to grow the frogbit or duckweed, so I'm going to try using an aquaneat. This extender looks like it's upside down to me. Isn't this upside down? And here's what it looks like 24 hours later. Not bad. I think the island works pretty well so far with no fish in it and nothing pulling up the plants. Not sure if these are going to actually hold up to full-size goldfish, but we'll see how well the roots dig down in there and grow. I'm not sure how well it'll keep the eco complete on this side either, but right now I think it looks pretty good. So thank you for watching, and as always, happy fish keeping.